Painting many of the parts for the 1970 Ford Mustang is the next logical step in our build. We are using both airbrush and hand painting techniques in this chapter. You may paint your parts in any order you are comfortable with, as you are going to set them aside to dry thoroughly before assembly anyway. Note that none of the parts we are painting in this chapter will be primed. It is not necessary to prime your automotive parts when using Tru-Color paint when applying a single color. The adhesion of our paints to normal kit plastics is outstanding. Matte black is the color specified by the instructions provided by Revell. It is being sprayed at 28 psi using a medium tip on the airbrush on the first side of the chassis, and a small part that belongs in the engine compartment. Note that we are constantly turning the base to ensure that we cover the entire part, particularly in the crevices of the chassis. Lift the cardboard support to spray inside the designated part. Spray in a back and forth motion to get an even coat of the matte black paint. Notice that we are spraying the matte black directly from a stock bottle with the Badger 1 ounce adapter. You may add thinner and/or retarder to spray at a lower pressure, or to use a smaller tip on the airbrush when desired. Any airbrush can be used with Tru-Color paint. It makes no difference if the airbrush is gravity or siphon feed. I am using a Vega 2000 siphon feed airbrush. Using acetone to clean our equipment causes no harm to our airbrush. However, you may have to test your airbrush to see if acetone will have any effect on the seals of your airbrush. Instead, you may want to use mineral spirits to clean your equipment, but mineral spirits dry much slower than acetone, preventing you from immediately spraying the next color. The dashboard and seat supports are being painted TCP 433 matte black per the Revell instructions. Note that after the dashboard is dry, I am going to hand paint TCP 013 aluminum inside the wells for the gauges. As we did in the previous section of this video, we are spraying at 28 psi TCP 354 galvanized steel on the exhaust system. Again, we are spraying from a 1 ounce stock bottle of the galvanized steel with an adapter at 28 psi. When dry, we will flip over the part to spray the other side. Next, we are painting some engine parts that we actually put together in the last chapter, plus the radiator section that goes in the engine compartment. We are painting these TCP 010 gloss black at 28 psi. Additional pieces need to be sprayed TCP 010 gloss black. These are the front section of the car, the spoiler, the rear window shield, and the parts that go on the back of the wheels. Also, there are small parts that attach the spoiler to the body. Spraying TCP-010 gloss black at 28 psi out of a 2-ounce stock bottle of gloss black with an adapter. The paint will dry in 30 to 45 minutes depending on ambient temperature and humidity. We flip the parts over and spray exactly the same technique on the reverse side after they are dry. TCP-010 gloss black needs to be painted on additional parts: the rear axle and springs, shock absorbers for the front and the rear, plus the brace in the engine compartment. Note that the last large part of this section is the passenger compartment. We do not change our spraying technique, spraying at a standard 28 psi with the medium tip with a stock 2-ounce bottle of gloss black attached to our airbrush with the 2-ounce Badger adapter. Notice that after the smaller parts have been painted on one side and allowed to dry for approximately 1 hour, we flip those parts over to spray the reverse side. Turn the parts as often as necessary to achieve complete coverage of the parts. Don't be afraid to apply an ample amount of paint on these parts. Our paint will not run. The body, hood, and the rear section that is attached below the trunk is being painted TCP 527 grabber green in this part of the video. This color is one of many that was offered as a standard color on the 1970 Ford Mustang. We chose this color as it is attractive and is characteristic of a Ford product. Since we will not spray this color on many other models, it is being sprayed from a half-ounce cup attached to our Vega 2000 airbrush at 28 psi. Again, we spray in a steady back and forth motion at all times, turning the parts being painted as necessary to ensure an even, complete coverage. Set aside parts to dry, and for those parts that need to be painted on the reverse side, repeat all procedures. TCP-601 medium tan was chosen for the interior color of the 1970 Ford Mustang. You may choose any interior color for your model. After masking the exterior of the passenger compartment, we are spraying the medium tan at 28 psi using a paint cup attached to our airbrush. Repeat this procedure for the car seats and the handrests. Removing the mask from the exterior of the passenger compartment and the car body is very simple. We placed the masking paper, TCP 900, initially there to prevent overspraying the medium tan that was sprayed previously in this video. Starting with the body, carefully peel back the masking paper as close to 180 degrees as possible. You will note there is no paint removal when we peel off our masking paper. If your model was prepared correctly initially while washing the surface with warm soapy water, rinsed with clean water, and pat dry, you will have no issues with paint removal when using Tru-Color paint. This applies to any model you are doing, including but not limited to ships, aircraft, armor, railroads, or sci-fi. Using the same technique, remove the masking paper from the exterior of the passenger compartment. Hand painting TCP 805 flat black onto the bottom of the passenger compartment to simulate floor mats that were and continue to be popular for interiors of cars is the next step. Use any solvent-resistant paintbrush of your choice and paint the floor mat in any size that you would like. You have free rein as to the width and length for your car model. Since I remember floor mats being very large, I choose to paint nearly the entire seating area depression flat black.